but I'm glad to see you again. Thank you very much for joining us. All right. Um, Trying to make sure that everything is set so we can um, stream on multiple platforms at the same time, which is a blessing. So just give me a second. Let me be sure we're good. Oh, I think we're good. I think we're good. All right, so like we usually do, we're just gonna spend the next 1 to 2 minutes sharing the live and also liking it. So please kindly share wherever you are, whether you're on YouTube, you're on Facebook, and now on Instagram. Please share the live. It's our first on Instagram, so we'll see how it goes today. Somebody mentioned it on Friday. So over the weekend, I was, playing with a few software, just trying to know which one would work. And I think we have a good one, so we'll see how that pans out today. All right, so it looks like every platform is doing fine. Um, Glory to God. So please, in case you join us for the first time, thank you very much for being here. Please like the live, share the live. I'm trying to share on Twitter since we can't do Twitter at the moment. So just put the link there, and then folks that can join us on any of these other platforms. Bagunyan nínú èwe, bá ṣebẹ̀ nínú èpo ẹ̀pà, ẹni tó máa yó máa yó. Yorùbá pé, Yorùbá dùn lédè. Wait though. Wait though, it looks like people watch Twitter. Hmm, interesting. You know what? Let's do it this way. Interesting. A lot of people on Twitter watching because we streamed earlier. So you know what? Let's try it. Let's see how it's gonna go. By the way, it's we're trying something out today. Um, it's just a couple of platforms are trying to connect to make sure that we're able to reach more people. And apparently, we're on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Instagram right now. But earlier, we had tried something with Twitter, and I wasn't sure if we were going to watch it because most of us join Twitter via audio and not so much video. But I just noticed that I went to check now and discovered that a number of people actually tuned in, even though it was for a very short bit. It's quite interesting. You know what? Let's try it, and then whatever happens, we'll see. It goes, and then if it works, good. But I'm sure everything's gonna be fine. I'm just going to switch from Facebook. So on YouTube, on Twitter, and on IG. And then we'll see how that goes. All right, lots of experiments being carried out right now. So don't panic. Just trying to get out there. So let's see how it goes. Let's see how it goes. Beautiful Monday afternoon. How's everybody doing? How's the family? How's his family? Work started today, Abi. So how is family? Adeklo, good afternoon. Good to see you. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you. Please don't stop our tapping and sharing. If you're on TikTok, please click on the heart icon above my head. Join the team. Drop your heart me. Support the live. You know, the normal stuff we do. Please, let's make sure we're doing that so that we can keep the live going. Ferrari. Wait, though. Ojo, Ofi, Osumo Ferrari. Ojo, si Ferrari. But it's good to see you. Thank you very much for being here. All right, we're gonna have a great time today. You're laughing. It's true now. Osumo Ferrari. Ojo, si Ferrari. Whichever one works, right? Akufario. All right. We're gonna have a wonderful session today. I came here today with a new convert, a former Yoruba, but thank you for winning souls. The Bible says those who win souls are wise, so and they will shine like stars. So you are wise and you will shine like. Thank you for doing the work of God. All right, everybody's coming back home. Mr. Solo 28, and the person and the former Yoruba, but to thank you for rethinking and for retracing your steps. Don't worry, it's better here. It's better on this side of the divide. If on YouTube, please double tap on your screen. Let's like the live and also engage. Just give me a few, well, like a minute, and then we'll be ready to get into the conversation. You're walking on sunshine. So when you come, you're walking on sunshine. What's that song? Esmeralda Spalding. She did that song when Obama was president. It's jazz. Now I feel like playing it or at least listening to it. On the sunny side of the street. On the sunny, on the shady. So it's on the sunny side of the street. Fantastic song. I feel like I wish I could play some of these things. It's just that, don't worry. I've already told you, so you can listen to it. I'll probably listen to it when I'm done. I just think it's a beautiful, beautiful song. On the sunny side of the street. Someone says you are welcome. That's another good song. You are welcome in the name of the Otonio, first timer. See church people in this place. You are welcome in the name of the Lord. We can see all over you The glory of the Lord. Okintolara, you are welcoming the name of the Lord. All right, beautiful Monday afternoon. Glad to be here and glad to have you join us. Please, if you're on TikTok, kindly click on the heart icon above my head. Join the team. Drop a heart to me. Like we always say, when you drop heart to me or gifts, what it does is it attracts other people on the FYP so they're able to find the live. So please do that. If you're on YouTube, thank you very much for being here as well. Kindly double tap on your screen to like the live. Also feel free to share. So like I said, in case there's someone, I don't know, it's going to be very hard to have a person who doesn't use YouTube or Twitter. So now we're on TikTok apparently, but we're also on YouTube, on Twitter, we're on Instagram, and yeah, we don't try. We'll see if we can add Facebook later, but I think we're good right at this moment. I have a few other stuff. Maybe we're able to work on a few more, gadgets. We can maybe add Twitch and Facebook. That won't be a bad idea. All right, if you see my eyes going that way, it's because I'm trying to get used to the screens in front of me and to also ensure that in case someone is saying something, I'm able to pick up, your thoughts, your comments and stuff like that. So thank you. Great Ashi, thank you for the gift, the confetti. Thank you very much for that. Please don't stop. That way we can keep the live going together. We have a lot of ground to cover. It's a Monday and a lot of things happen over the weekend, but we're not going to go into everything. However, certain parts that need to be discussed, we will quickly discuss. And I'd like to start with something that, we thought, a number of people thought, and I said it that day, we thought that the stuff had been dealt with, but apparently we have to keep pushing. And I remember saying to us the other day that most of what you're seeing right now is people reacting to a particular stuff that they have noticed in the way politics works in Nigeria. So whenever you see the pushbacks, don't assume that maybe people hate certain groups. That's not what's happening. Someone said your name is being mentioned in high places. Amen. Thank you both. Thank you for what's happening now. Amen for the ones that will be happening soon. All right, so when you see the pushback, it's not because people hate any group and things like that. The actions of people actually find a way somehow to justify the statements that we make. Now, I know that there are people who go to the extremes and start insulting the ethnic groups and start denigrating people. That's not what this is about. We're just setting the record straight and also to provide clarity as much as we can. And starting with something that's happening this morning, it's actually happening at this moment in Abuja, the National Public Hearing, Constitution Alteration Bills. Now, the Deputy Speaker, Nigeria's House of Representatives, who also happens to be the chairman, Constitution Review Committee. His name is Right Honorable Benjamin Kalu. He put out a statement yesterday asking that people, be part of the National Public Hearing on Constitution Amendment or Constitution Alteration Bills. Now, I thought, that was just it until I saw like a bit of the program for the event, and then I noticed that the citizenship. I'm still trying to find the program of today's event, but I hope that this is, just something that folks are talking about. The idea of the citizenship and indigenship status bills, bills actually, there are 4 bills: new citizenship by investment, granting citizenship rights to spouses of Nigerian women, and then granting indigenous status to persons by reason of birth, marriage, or settlement for not less than 10 years. Now, we've been talking about this since March, so it's not new, but it's important that we actually keep talking about it. Not because there is like an inherent or whatever form of hate towards anybody, but because it's important that we actually understand what's up and that we don't become manipulated by certain people based on our ignorance, which of course, hopefully as we have these conversations, we do away with and we embrace knowledge. I said that to say that of these four bills, the only one that, well, two makes sense, which is citizenship by investment. This happens all over the world, especially in the Caribbean, in the islands, even in the US, where you could invest a certain amount of money. It could be $100,000, it could be $150,000, it could be $250,000. The country gives you that, and then you invest in the country. The people are able to work, and then you can become a citizen, that way. So it happens in many countries. So to want to have that in Nigeria makes sense. The second one is granting citizenship rights to spouses of Nigerian women. It also makes sense, and I'll tell you, I'm sure we all know why. So before now, and even at the present, it's easier for a woman married to a Nigerian man to become a citizen of Nigeria than for a man married to a Nigerian woman to become a citizen of Nigeria. In other words, if you marry a Nigerian man, you become a citizen straight up. If you marry a Nigerian woman, it's not certain. In fact, it may not even happen. So to say that you want to grant citizenship rights to spouses of Nigerian women, that also makes sense. But you see, this indigenous nonsense, again, with all due respect to anybody who came up with the bill, it's absolute rubbish. It's hogwash because you cannot legislate indigenship by birth. Indigenship has more, is not about citizenship. You can become a citizen by birth. And every Nigerian born of a Nigerian is a citizen. Even the one who can't make her husband a citizen, their children are citizens automatically. You see? So the idea of having a citizen, becoming a citizen by birth, is a bit warped, to the best of my knowledge. So we spoke against it. Petitions were written against it. There are a lot of consultations, and eventually the person who sponsored the bill, who also happens to be the Deputy Speaker of Nigeria's House of Representatives, he withdrew it. But in the last 24 hours, it's been around since the 1940s. It's what he wants to try to do in 66. It's an agenda that's in the heart of people. And like I said, and I think if you've been here for a while, you would understand. You must have heard me say this before, that ideas are, ideas are very naughty, like naughty in the sense of KNOTY. They are, and then they also don't die. All right, ideas don't die. It's like energy; they don't really die, unless of course you're able to repurpose the idea or repurpose the energy. This idea of wanting to be able to penetrate other parts of Nigeria, some people have it in their mind. Be money, all right, and so. In other words, you have to constantly push back at things like that. But apart from that, I really hope that all of these conversations will get to a point where not only will we be spending a lot of time pushing back, but we're going to actually sit down and create a structure that recognizes the uniqueness of different ethnic nations in Nigeria. I've said this before, it's not because it's a political entity. That's the only difference between what it is right now and what it was in 1947 when Papa wrote the book Path to Nigerian Freedom. You see, in 47, Papa wrote in there, said Nigeria is a mere geographic expression. And we have that appellation because it talks about the fact that we're living within the borders of the country. I'm paraphrasing what he said. Well, we have done a bit better than where we were in 47, where we're just a geographic expression. At least now we've become a political entity. So it's a country, and it's a sovereign country. But it's not a nation, and I don't think it will ever be, and I don't think it's a problem. And I'll give you an example. You see, yesterday I was listening to a gentleman, very educated, a journalist, well-read. So there was this podcast, and they were talking about Nigeria, and he kept going back to that thing of, we are one, we have not gotten to the point where we will build a nation. I mean, I was like, have we learned nothing? Have we learned nothing? Yes, is that idea of want to build a strong nation. One nation bound in freedom, peace, and unity. Thank God they changed the anthem. It's just motivational. It's just morale boosting song that cannot work in reality. And the reason is not because the person singing the song doesn't want it to work. It's because it's against nature. It's against nature. It's against nature, for instance, to have a man with penis get pregnant. It's against nature. So what we're doing in Nigeria really is, instead of having the man and the woman mate, or maybe you have IVF and work with a woman, work with nature, and let a woman actually, she has a womb, carry the baby to term. What we're doing is we're trying to make a man, an adult male human, to get pregnant. And we're saying all things are possible. There's nothing that's impossible. Can do all things. Do you believe it? We are wasting time. Nature has already given us, a template. Why not just work with the template? Rather than work outside, in the name of working outside the box, we are literally just living in fantasy land. And then we'll now go and hire motivational speakers to be talking to our children every day. Nigerian unity will be the nation. Nigeria is a country of many nations, and it is not a minus, it's a plus. This unity we've been looking for since the 50s into the 60s, it is not going to come. And I'm not saying that as a pessimist. I'm saying that as somebody who thinks that the people, let me say it this way, the folks who are shouting, let's unite, that they're the reason Nigeria is not progressing. And the question I want to ask everybody is this: what do you really want? Growth or the fantasy of unity? Because you can't have it in reality. And I've said this several times. Whenever people say things like, let's work together, let's forget our identity, let's forget who we are, I tell them, listen, would you want to forget who you are and take on what I am? As long as you don't want to. I know that's not, because the kind of unity me I used to know is that you are who you are and who I am, we can work together. This thing where you want to become an indigene of my space after living there for 10 years, it's an insult to the memory of my ancestors. Who are you? You came in through the back door, you're going to legislate indigeneity. You're not going to go through the normal cultural process of becoming one with the people. You don't really care for that. You're not going to go through the normal process of integrating. And we've had sessions on this. We have a video on YouTube on how you can't become an indigene by residency. We did a video about that some time ago. But just in case you haven't heard me say it before, here's the truth. One second. Some just occurred to me. I think it's good. Again, we're trying something, an experiment. I just want to see if it's worth what we're doing. One second. I want to check what's happening on Twitter. I know where I am. I'll continue from there in a second. Okay. I might switch up Twitter at the point, but let's just continue. This is what I'm trying to say. You see, every culture, every developed culture, I should say, has a process through which they take in outsiders. In other words, those outside that circle, in very developed cultures, they can become members of that group, even on an ethnic basis, and have the rights of the indigenes. And you know what? I think at some point I'm going to write something down. I would want us to have a session on indigeneity, especially between the Hausas and the Yorubas, and what has happened. So let me say the Hausas, yes, I was going to say nothing else. The Hausas and the Yorubas, and how it has worked in the last couple of centuries. It has happened, by the way. It happened long before Nigeria. There are two major ways by which you get to be part of cultures. Number one is you could assimilate. Number two is you could integrate. To assimilate means that you jettison where you're coming from and what you had, and then you become essentially part of the new group. So you're now one with them. We have many examples of that in Yoruba land, for instance, where people, for instance, and we have Yoruba people also who did this. I'll give you examples, for instance. Let me use Edo and Yoruba. Let me use Benin and Yoruba. There are some chiefs in Benin today. I'm not just talking about the king. Now, of course, the king is as well, but there are chiefs in Benin today. When they greet, they will say Lauhe. Uhe is Benin for Ife or Ufe. And the interesting thing about Benin culture is actually quite interesting, is that they're greeting, the way they greet each other, within it you can tell sometimes the origin of the people greeting. Some people will do Lamogun. Those people are from Ife, they are from Yoruba land. That's why they say Lauhe, they are Ife. But they are not Ife people anymore. They have Ife origin or Ife ancestry, but they are now effectively Bini. They are indigenes of that land. There's a process they went through. It's called assimilation, where they forgot about being Yoruba, they became Benin. So I cannot call them Ife people, but I can acknowledge that they have Ife roots. So let's say, for instance, something happens and they need my help based on where they are from. I can't say, oh, I don't know you. I know you, but you are Edo. But we can relate based on your great-grandfather or great-great-grandfather or something like that. So you know the origins, but not the present reality of the people. They are not indigenes of Ife. They are indigenes of Benin, but they have Ife origins. That's assimilation. The same thing happens from the Benin Yoruba side. See, back in the day, a lot of Edo traders moved into Yoruba land, into Owo, into Akure, into Ondo, into many Ekiti towns. Some of them would even, have their own colonies, like trade colonies, like groups. Over time, some of them became part of the people. I'll give you one example. It's even in Idonre. I didn't mention, I mentioned Lauhe, so I might mention this one as well. The very first professor of philosophy, female professor of philosophy in Nigeria is Professor Sophie Oluwole. Her surname, her maiden name is Aloba. But her grandfather was actually from Edo State. They assimilated. Her own father became a Yoruba man. When she was born, she was a Yoruba girl. When her brother was born, he was a Yoruba boy. She became a Yoruba woman. He became a Yoruba man. Their great-grandfather may have come from Edo, but they are Yoruba people, and they can say they are from Idonre. There is a process. They assimilated fully. They don't need any law that says they must become citizens indigenous after 10 years. It makes no sense. You are literally bypassing the culture of the people because you are trying to take something in the land that doesn't belong to you. Because that's what it is. You want to have the rights of an indigenous